Hey guys, John here and welcome to the VRAM low budget strat video. Based on the feedback we've received through the group and forum, we've noticed that many beginners with smaller starting budgets were having trouble finding a Facebook ads method that yielded great results. Though we did release a low budget method on our YouTube channel, the approach was created based on the state of Facebook ads in 2019. Since then, much of our actual strategy has changed and many of the practices have become outdated. And so, after testing quite a few different low budget setups in 2020, I've come up with an updated low budget strat that will allow you to efficiently test with just $50 a day. Today, I'll be walking you through this entire method step by step. Now, the reason why this new setup works so well is because we're utilizing more machine learning and ultimately giving Facebook more responsibility over how to utilize our budget. Facebook has made big improvements to their machine learning algo over the years, and I believe at this point, the machine is far superior than humans, which is why in this new method we're utilizing only CBOs, very broad interests, automatic placements, and a very few number of ad sets. 3 ad sets to be exact. In the past, you had to test lots of interests and find very specific ones to reach profitability, but now you'll see far better performance utilizing broad interests and giving Facebook the ability to sift and find your exact audience within the large interest. Broad interest became superior than narrow interest because Facebook's machine just got way too smart. By utilizing a broad interest, you have access to cheaper CPMs, more reach, and an overall larger customer base. And because the machine has gotten so good, you'll get better results if you let the machine find your customers for you rather than trying to do that work yourself. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into the actual setup. Okay, so the setup we'll be using here is going to be simple yet very powerful. Most of the settings and options you'll be using for this campaign will also be used for essentially every other campaign you create, with the exception of some advanced level scaling methods later on. Your first testing campaign will be a CBO with the following settings: a budget of $50, bidding automatic, conversion purchases, time starting 12 a.m. the next day, location worldwide with some excluded countries list, age 18 to 65 plus, gender all genders unless your product is specifically for a certain gender, interest we're going to make sure to exclude dropshipping for all of them, placements automatic, conversion window should be 7-day click or 1-day view. Now if you've never created a Facebook campaign before, don't worry, we'll go over this one together so that you have an idea of how to do so. Alright guys, so now I'll walk you through exactly how to set up the low budget strategy. So first we're going to go to Ads Manager and then make sure you're on the right ad account. Then click on Create. And then for the campaign name we're going to call it Test 1, CBO $50. Campaign objective, we'll set it to conversions. We'll set the budget to $50. The ad set name is going to be neck for the first one because we're going to be targeting neck. And then for the ad name, we're going to call it test number 1. Click on save to draft. Alright, so over here, make sure it's set to auction, conversions, daily budget 50. And then under more options over here, make sure it's set to lowest cost, which is also just a fancy term for auto bid. And then ad scheduling, make sure ads run all the time. And then keep incremental conversion optimization turned off. Now click on the campaign. Now you're going to be on the ad set. Click on edit. Make sure your pixel is attached to your ad account. So for this one, we got Mr. Next Pixel. The conversion event is going to be purchase. Alright. And then we're going to set the schedule to the next day at 12 a.m. Now make sure you have it scheduled to run the next day because sometimes Facebook requires maybe 6 hours, maybe 10 hours, sometimes even up to 15 hours before they approve your advertisement. And from the moment they approve the advertisement, your ads are just going to run. So let's say you let's say you just set up your ads and they got approved at 6 p.m. Then your ads are going to run from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. and it's going to try to utilize all of your budget in that 6-hour time frame versus when you have a schedule to run the next day at 12 o'clock and it gets approved at 6 p.m. but it doesn't run until 12 o'clock and it runs at 12 o'clock or 12 a.m. all the way to 12 p.m. that day. You have a full 24-hour optimization window versus like a 6-hour optimization window if your ads get approved later on in the day. So make sure you guys schedule your advertisement to run the next day at 12 a.m. We're not going to set an end date. And then for the ad spend limit, we're also not going to set that. For custom audiences, we're going to leave it blank because we haven't gotten to lookalike audiences yet. And then for locations, we either use worldwide or ePacket. A lot of times these days, I've actually been having a lot of success with a worldwide. So I've been going with worldwide minus a few countries. But right now, because of the COVID-19 situation, a lot of the logistics are down for worldwide shipping. So we're going to actually stick to USA only. For age, we're going to go 18 to 65 plus. Gender is going to be all gender. Unless you know the exact gender of your product, I would recommend you to go with all genders. And then for detailed targeting, let's first exclude dropshipping and AliExpress. Now this is just to make sure that the other dropshippers aren't going to copy you, because you could run into saturation eventually down the line if you have like 1,000 people copying you and everyone's spending like $1,000 a day. Then you have like $1 million being spent per day on the same product, and that could actually lead to saturation. So that's why, to prevent that, at least to the best of my ability, I will exclude AliExpress and dropshipping. Now for the detailed targeting, I'm going to type in neck. So make sure when you're selecting these interests to target that you select these broad interests. So usually I try to go for anything above 10 million plus. So for this instance, I'm going to pick neck. And then I'm going to turn off expand your detailed targeting for now. And then we'll leave it as automatic placement. And then everything else here can be default, so conversions. And then you're going to have 7-day click or 1-day view. Click on that. Now let's go on over to the actual advertisement over here. And we're going to create the ad right now. So we're going to upload the video that we made together in InVideo. Now I've already pre-uploaded them onto my ad account, but all you have to do is click on upload and upload your own advertisements on there. So I have two different variations. The only difference between the first variation and the second variation is the first 3 seconds of the video. So let's upload the first one. And then I've actually already written out a copy for this advertisement. Give me 1 second. Grab that. So here's the primary text. The headline is relieve neck or shoulder pain. Description is going to be limited time sale. The website's going to be, well, it's going to be the same thing as this one. Paste that in here, paste that in here. Call to action will be shop now. And that's looking good for the first advertisement. Let's just do a little bit of modification to the thumbnail here. Let's go with a custom one. And I'll pick this one right here. Alright, perfect. So the advertisement looks nice. So that's the first ad. Let's duplicate this one time here. I'm going to actually turn this off. Alright, so this is the second advertisement, so we're going to call it test number 2. Click on edit. And then we're going to edit the video here, or not edit, we're going to click on change video. Click on add to, click continue. Now that's the second advertisement. Make sure to change the thumbnail. So I'll probably use the same one. Actually, I'll use this one right here. Alright, so we got this advertisement, or this thumbnail right here, and then we have a slightly different thumbnail for the first one. Alright, so now you're probably wondering, how did I come up with this copy right here? So basically for the body text, I wrote exactly what people wanted, which is relief from neck pain. So I wrote relieve neck or shoulder pain with Mr. Neck cervical traction device. And then I used 3 bullets to highlight some of the key things that people might be wondering, which is, how long do I have to use it? How long do I have to use this? Is it hard to use? And what if I don't like the product? So for the bullets, I basically just answered any resistance a customer might have about the product. It only takes 15 minutes a day. It's super easy to use, and there's a money back guarantee. So then after the bullets, I just put a little sale below it to wrap it up with a call to action. Now for the headline, I decided to reiterate the main selling point, which is relieve neck or shoulder pain. I reiterated it because the two main things people look at after the video is the body text or headline. And then finally for the subheader, I put limited time sale to promote a little urgency and then get people to complete the purchase right away. And yeah, that's about it for the copy. It's nothing too complex, but it might take you a few tries to get this right if you're just starting off. Alright, so once you have the copy in place, you got your two advertisements to test. So like these are different advertisements, as you can see, test number 1 and test number 2. Go back into ad set over here, and now you can duplicate these ad sets. So let's duplicate this twice. Make sure to check show existing reactions, comments, and shares, and then click on duplicate. Alright, so then over here, let's change the interest from neck to something else. So let's go back down. Let's click on suggestions to pull up other related interests. Okay, so shoulder has 33 million, vertebral column has 58 million, joint has 80 million. Okay, so these are all looking pretty good. Let me just click on shoulder here then. And actually the audience size in the US is 4.3 million. So let me just keep checking. Maybe vertebral column. And yeah, that's closer to 10 million. So I think I'm going to stick with this one right here. So vertebral column. Oh, sorry, I'm having such a hard time pronouncing words today. I don't know what's wrong. Vertebral column. Perfect. And then for the next one over here, let's try to find another one. Got joint, old age, knee, lumbar vertebrae. So yeah, for this one, I think I'm gonna go with joint. Alright, perfect, 12 million people. So let's go with joint. Alright, and there you have it. You got your 3 interests set up right there. And then within each ad set, there's 2 advertisements each. So altogether, you have 6 ads, but it's only 2 variations. You're going to be testing 2 variations and 3 interests. Now, for those of you guys wondering, it's like, why do I not spend like a lot of time researching these audiences? And the answer to this is actually quite simple. It's because Facebook has just gotten so, we're not going to set an end date. And then for the ad spend limit, we're also not going to set that. For custom audiences, we're going to leave it blank because we haven't gotten to lookalike audiences yet. And then for locations, we either use worldwide or ePacket. A lot of times these days, I've actually been having a lot from this big size versus giving it a very condensed list where you only have like maybe 1 million people in the audience, and it's going to cost a lot more money for Facebook to find opportunities to bid for these people's advertising space because you have a much smaller audience size. And because of that, you're going to have less potential customers inside of a 1 million size audience versus a 10 million size audience. So these days, it's like you spend less time doing the research, pick broad interests that are related to your main interest. So my main interest is neck, and then vertebral column and joint are obviously somewhat related to neck, and they're also very broad. So that's why I picked them. And most likely, if your creative is right, your pricing is good, your landing page is also good, then you should be able to convert sales on either the first or second day. And yeah, that's it for the overall setup. At this point, all you got to do is click on review and publish, and you're ready to launch your ads. Alright, at this point, you should have everything ready to go, so just hit publish. Now your ad will undergo both an automatic and possibly a manual review process. This can take some time depending on a number of factors like the ad copy, the creative type, and audience specifics. It might still be in review at midnight, and if that's the case, don't worry. Let it go through the approval process and it will start running as soon as it gets reviewed. In any case, you're going to want to go ahead and let your ad run for a bit, at which point you will want to jump in and do some analysis. Now, how long you let the ads run before making any decisions will depend on the cost of your product. Usually, we let our campaign spend at least 2 times the cost of the product. To figure out how long we should run it for, you can use the following formula. Product cost times 2 divided by daily budget, which is $50 in this case, which equals the total number of days. If when you plug the numbers in, you get a number that isn't a whole number, I recommend rounding it up to the nearest one. So for example, if your product is $30, $60 divided by 50 equals 1.2, which would then round up to 2 days. So that's about it for now. Just let your ads run for the number of days as per the formula described above before moving on to phase 2. Alright, so you're probably wondering at this point, when should I move to phase 2? So if you got all your ads set up, let's go over the requirements needed to move on to the next phase. So make sure that at least one or more of your ad sets meets the following conditions. At least 3 purchases, ideally 5, and the cost per purchase is either break even or profitable. Now if you're not seeing these results just yet, that's okay. So long as you have at least a few purchases with at least one of the ad sets around a break even or profitable CPP, you can continue running your ads for a day or 2 longer. However, if your performance is not great, as in your CPP is much higher than you need it to be, and you have very few purchases, I strongly recommend going to lesson 5.5, where I will teach you how to troubleshoot your funnel and help you get on the right track. Alright guys, that's about it for the low budget start. If you haven't yet ran your ads and made it all the way to the end of this phase, go ahead and do that now before moving on. As a reminder, the next video in the module, Phase 1, Option 2, High Budget Strat, is not required if you run your ads using the low budget strat. Instead, if after a few days of Phase 1, your performance is not great, you should go to lesson 5.5 and diagnose your actual funnel. Anyways guys, thanks for watching this video and I'll see you guys in the next one.